And then when it came down to Nick Cannon, he really do like to, suck cannons, and that's what he does. He sucked a good cannon on me. It was good. He sucked my cannon.
You just talking shit, Orlando, Mr. Brown.
He licked my cannon.
Mr. Brown, you just talking.
Nick, you suck my. And don't you ever forget it. That's why Mariah Carey left your ass, and you lying, Nick.
It's looking like it's Nick Cannon's time to fry. And besides, he got worse accusations than R. Kelly and Diddy put together. And once they start playing with your money, that's how you know it's game over.
Nick Cannon's former money manager allegedly treated his account like a personal piggy bank and then disappeared with $2 million, according to federal prosecutors. Sources with direct knowledge tell TMZ that Frank Muzoki, a former account manager, is accused of spending several years siphoning cash from Nick Cannon. Federal prosecutors have now hit Frank with a 8-count indictment, claiming he used his position managing the businesses and financial affairs of elite celebrities to carry out the scheme. While the indictment doesn't mention Nick Cannon by name, sources confirm he is the alleged victim. The feds say Frank had access to Cannon's debit cards and PINs and allegedly abused that access from December 2019 through June 2023. Withdrawing roughly $1.7 million from ATMs, spending more than $165,000 on Amazon purchases, nearly $192,000 on personal travel, and racking up over $160,000 in miscellaneous personal expenses. In total, prosecutors say more than $2 million was stolen from Nick Cannon without his knowledge or permission. Nick Cannon has reportedly been a client for nearly 20 years at the firm where Frank worked. Prosecutors say the scheme didn't end there. The former accountant is also accused of hiding more than $1.7 million in alleged stolen income on federal tax returns filed between 2021 and 2023, leading to 3 tax evasion charges on top of 5 counts of wire fraud. Authorities believe Frank has fled to Uganda, where he reportedly holds dual citizenship with the United States. If convicted, he faces up to 20 years in federal prison for each wire fraud charge and up to 5 years for each tax evasion count. We've reached out to Nick Cannon's team and the FBI, but so far, no word back from either.
If he didn't say those things that he said about R. Kelly, I don't think this stuff would be happening to Nick Cannon.
Why is it that R. Kelly can't get that?
I think he played in people's face one too many times.
Okay.
Because if you notice, originally, like even during that time, people kind of been like, even before that, everybody knew about Aaliyah. Yeah. Aaliyah's album was called Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. All produced by R. Kelly, and she was 15. The world heard about all of they're married and all that stuff, and we was like, all right, we gonna turn and look this way,
right.
And,
Right.
Then the tape. Now they got hardcore evidence.
Yes.
And you like, I ain't watched the tape. I ain't see it. It ain't happened.
Right.
I believe I can fly. Right. Then he came with Ignition, Step in the Name of Love, and Our Hearts Brigade, right. And just focused on the music. And then he came back out again after people had overlooked those 2 things. It's like, come on, man, you can't keep just women in general. Mm-hmm. And that was his core audience.
Yes.
To be like, you keep disrespecting in our faith.
Right.
And we don't see any empathy. We don't see any atonement. We don't see any change. You're still out here in the club and but I think what people have learned to do is separate the art from the man.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
So to say that, now his music is trash because because of the horrible things that he did.
Then you got to throw the whole music industry away.
With him losing all of his money, you figure his baby mothers would be upset. But according to some sources, he never paid child support.
Lawyers are now getting involved with Nick Cannon's child support claims. So if you watched the first few episodes of this season of Selling Sunset, then you know Bree has explained to Amanda that Nick does not pay child support for her, so she fully takes care of her baby on her own, but Nick is a good dad, is what she said. Then there's also a part where Amanda's like, is that true that if you have more than 10 babies, then the other person doesn't have to pay child support? And Bree's like, yep, that's true, unfortunately. Basically, she explains that the court assumes that the father can't afford to pay if they have 10 or more kids, or they split a certain amount knowing what the father makes. Then Bree's lawyer goes, Bree, you should know better. That's absolutely not true. There's no cap on child support based on the number of children. So to the extent that Nick Cannon can have babies, he owes child support for those babies under California. But in this second statement, you can see that it doesn't mean that Nick Cannon necessarily pays each of those mothers for each of those children. I do find it funny that Bree's lawyers are the one to come out and be like, Bree, you know better, and not Nick Cannon's lawyers. Her own lawyer is putting her in her...
He got R. Kelly tied all into his situation, but he don't want his daughter to be a thot. but he feel like it's all right for his son to be living like Diddy.
Nick Cannon gets called out for saying he lets his son date but doesn't allow his daughter to date. So you had Nick Cannon on the podcast speaking on how he let his 15-year-old son go on a date, but he's not letting his daughter go on a date. You had a lot of joints calling him out, talking about he out here with a double standard, woo woo. Why you out there trying to keep your daughter away from men like you while trying to teach your son to be just like how you is? I'm like, whoa, chill. Double standards exist for a reason, right? Just like you got double standards of little boys and little girls coming up, they always tell the little boys, don't put your hands on no little girls, but they never tell the little girls, don't put your hands on little boys, right? And you gotta understand, the woman gets pregnant, right? So if your daughter out there in the midst, she can come home with a baby, and you also got the dangers that's out there. We see in these major cities, you be having young girls going missing and things like that. So fathers are more protective like that with their daughters. Right now, Nick Cannon is not the best example, that you would want a kid to come out and grow up like, right? With all the kids he got and things like that. So I see that angle where they're coming from, but I also understand how fathers are protective like that with their daughter.
I must have forgot. Nick Cannon is a bigger fan of Diddy than Ray J ever was.
Think about all that Diddy has done for the culture.
They asked me about Puff, and I answered it as honestly as I knew how to answer it. I know these people, they're not just public figures to me.
Nick Cannon's comments about Diddy resurfacing in the wake of the music mogul's federal home raids.
What about Puff? I don't know how to feel about that.
Everybody has things that we have to deal with, and through love and understanding, we'll get through it.
The Masked Singer host getting through it on his Council Culture podcast in February, addressing what he said earlier in December on Way Up with Angela Yee.
Cassie, straight up.
In the aftermath of Diddy's sexual assault allegations from his ex, Cassie. Diddy denies the claims, but still, they ultimately settled. It's worth noting both appearances were recorded before Diddy's home raids.
I saw you leave like a nice comment for Cassie.
Yeah.
With everything that's been happening with Diddy.
And there's a lot of things that we probably don't know the details on, but we all on the outside looking in.
I'm praying for Cassie, trying to find the high frequency in knowing the story, knowing the right thing to talk about. I was like, this is someone who was hurt, who was victimized.
Nick making the comment while reflecting on his personal struggles in the public eye, including losing jobs over what many believe to be anti-Semitic remarks, for which he's since apologized.
When I was going through my stuff, someone that called, checked on me, stood by me, stood up for me, when no one else would protect me.
We just like the audience, we sitting back, praying and hoping for the best. But then at the same time, when you know individuals, it's like a family member. I don't agree with the behavior, but I care for the person.
So I have to almost do this dance about when it comes up, because just as much as I know Diddy, I know Cassie.
In November, Cassie's lawsuit allegations were only the start of legal troubles for Diddy.
As we watch it, we're watching it in real time, and we don't know how to feel because, one, we don't know the truth. We don't know everything. When it's revealed, it'll be revealed. And then when we are presented whatever the actual truth is, it's like, all right, well, how do we feel about what we've signed on for to be a part of that person's movement?
Of course, Nick's interview last year was before Diddy's 2024 headlines. Homeland Security raiding his LA and Miami mansions amid sex trafficking allegations. For now, Nick's only response has been sharing this unaired snippet from a February podcast episode. Nick asking fans in the caption what he's really yet to answer himself. What do you think about Diddy?
I find difficulty in it when I'm asked about people that I know about. But that goes back to what this is all about, healing in the public eye. As our brotherhood, it shouldn't be in the public.
I know Amber Rose is fine. I know Amber Rose is sexy, but she might just be the reason why Nick Cannon is going through hell right now.
Nick Cannon removes the latest episode of his show, The Big Drive, featuring Amber Rose from his YouTube channel after receiving backlash for spreading misinformation about politics and for seemingly co-signing Amber Rose when she said this about the N-word.
White people should be able to say and I'm going to tell you why. Because no one, when you really stop giving a about stupid, dumbass words, will stop killing each other. And Nick, it's very different. You know if somebody says the hard R and they're pointing at you, it's very different than rap lyrics or saying, oh, that's my homie.
Right.
You
if
know?
Somebody's using a term as a derogatory term,
but we know that.
You know the difference between somebody just saying
we're all smart enough. We're all smart enough to know.
Now, what's interesting about this is that in the same interview, Amber Rose says that she does not believe that biracial people are black. She herself, being biracial and on other occasions, has shared that she does not believe that she is a black woman. So the issue then becomes, if you're not black, then why are you saying the word, number one, and Nick Cannon is allowing it? But number two, why do you think that you're qualified to tell black people who should be able to say a word that historically has been harmful to black people, a take-back word?
I told y'all, man, it's looking like Nick Cannon is next in line to fry. They're going to do him worse than Diddy, probably worse than R. Kelly. We just got to wait and see. Nick, if you listening, I'm praying for you, man. They've been trying to get at you for a long time. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section.
Risk my life to give you documentations, girl. I risk my life to give you documentations, girl. I risk my life to give you documentations, girl. I risk my life to give